we would be an interesting combination in coaching.
We would be an interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think you could handle the Danimal?
That.
Hey everyone, we're with the Big T podcast here, and finally I'm in person and not over Zoom. Brad, you like that, right?
Yeah, we had you last time at the airport.
That's true. I almost missed my flight because of you guys, but it's nice to be here in person with you, Brad, and Danielle Collins, my bestie. Finally, we're getting to do something on TV. It's so much fun to be with you, and now I get to get all the good gossip that I've been missing, and get to hear all the good shenanigans that you've been pulling off here at Tennis Channel.
There's been quite a few shenanigans already in the last week, and it's only the first week for me here.
Only the first week. That just only means
break
trouble.
already?
I mean, I thought it was a down a break there, the little hospital run we had to have with my neck. But yeah, no, things have been going well. I've been having a good time. So I feel like I'm off to a good start.
You are definitely up a break. Let's see the ring.
Yep. It's here. It's in person. It's still shiny and still
let's zoom in on that bling, baby.
Yes, here it is.
Have you already put it in that little cleaning solution?
I haven't yet, actually, because I have only been home for about 3 days after being in Palm Beach. It's only been about a week and a couple days, so still getting used to remembering that it's on my hand. But every once in a while, the bling just catches my eye, so that does help. But into other tennis news, the serious stuff. We got some week one recaps that we want to talk about a bit, and we have, along with that, the AO predictions. And of course, because you got the girlies here, Brad, we got to have a new game. You can't just leave you high and dry without a little game and put some pressure on.
I got notes. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
A lot to unpack from last week.
And then I think my favorite part of this are the last two segments we're going to have, which is fan questions and pet peeves. I have tons of pet peeves, especially when it comes to other tennis players, along with myself, that I now, have to.
We'll just go down the list. We both have a long list of pet peeves, so we will unpack.
Yes, but on a week one, I think what we all want to talk about first and foremost is world number one, Aryna Sabalenka. I think she had such an amazing start to the season and kind of capped off her finish. She made the finals of the year in championships, but really just dominated her draw out there in the first week of the lead-up tournaments for the Australian Open. Brad, what do you think happened out there?
Well, she plays her best tennis down under. She's played really well in Adelaide before, which has gotten her ready for Melbourne. Most of the top women are much more active to start the year because you guys have 500 tournaments. A lot of the top guys don't play. I also think that quicker conditions help her game, her serve +1. And I do think that the way she plays big tennis, I think that especially when the conditions are warm there, really benefit her game, Danielle.
I agree with that. And I think she had all the reason to go out in that final match and try to take it to Kostyuk with some of the drama that was there towards the end of the year. I think she was hungry for a win there. Kostyuk was playing some really good tennis. I mean, she had
beat three top 10
consecutive
wins.
top 10 players back to back to back, and it looked like she was going to go into that match playing pretty well, and she was playing well, but Sabalenka just too good and too strong. So
do you think Kostyuk could be like a little bit of a sleeper come AO? Because she's super athletic. She really grinds out some points. She can handle that pound for pound punch. I mean, got blown out a bit come against Sabalenka, the best in the world to do it, but could be a sleeper if a draw opened up, do you think?
Well, between 16 and 20, if you look at the rankings, there's a lot of dangerous players in there. And I feel like that Kostyuk, wherever she's ranked, she's one of those players that can beat a lot of good players, but then she can go and lose to 85. She's very inconsistent. So I think that's the reason why she's not ranked higher. So would you say Sabalenka and Marta, they're two ladies and two Uber cars? They're not breaking a little bread and cocktails?
They're not doing a fair split, that's for sure. I think Kostyuk is going to say, Aryna, you can take it. You got the title. You can take the Uber, bill as well.
Yeah.
And maybe the dinner bill and maybe the drinks bill and all all that goes on with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I think Kostyuk does have a good chance anytime she steps on the court, but it really just depends on where she's at mentally. When she's mentally in a good place, she can play at the highest level, but then, like you said, when things aren't kind of going for her, it can get pretty sporadic out there.
Well, and you talked about it earlier, Bradley, about how difficult it is for the women, or I guess a benefit for the women of how they start with the big tournaments right off the bat. But also another fun tournament used to be Hopman Cup, now is United Cup. And somebody I wanted to mention that I thought played unbelievable during that was Belinda Bencic. She surprised me coming out because maternity leave, she definitely had a good season last year, made some strides, but it was very much, this is where you're tested against the best in the world and playing for your country, to have that extra bit of pressure and stand also there. Mixed doubles, she fell flat. I mean, it's not her game.
9-1 she was.
No.
4 times she had to win it in mixed.
But a lot
she
of
is
tennis
stale
for her.
out there when it comes to mixed doubles. You can see that's where the biggest opening was when it came to that finals match against Poland. That was the hardest thing. She carried her country in, but I think mixed doubles is where you saw in this format where she fell a little bit flat. But if you're going to fall flat anywhere, mixed doubles is fine. She performed excellent in singles.
Kind of interesting, the last couple of years, Poland has lost, and it was Swiatek and her catch playing mixed doubles. This year they didn't play mixed doubles
With that
once.
dynamic duo in, and wow, they had some
won
incredible matches. I think they won all their doubles matches. Are they playing together at Australian Open? Do we know?
They better.
They better. The way they were playing, they have a chance of lifting the trophy
Team
in
Poland
Melbourne.
come Olympics in 2 years, that might be a tough out, but it is concerning, I think, when you mentioned Team Poland of Iga crying early in the season.
2 different matches, getting bageled by a set from Bencic, and the 4th consecutive straight set loss to Coco. And the more that I watched her, the forehand, it's funny is that can be her best shot, but when she's rushed, that shot can completely fall apart. And the Bencic match, Bend It Like Bencic, if I'm other ladies, I'm putting in that CD and watching that blueprint, because if you go hard and fast there, you know, there's a lot of opportunities. She's so much better off the backhand.
And that backhand for Iga is what saves her, but it's a player that can match her in the backhand wing. And you've seen that difficult matchup with Coco Gauff. You've seen that difficult matchup with Bencic, Sabalenka, and Rybakina, where she feels panicked and has to bail out of the backhand. And that puts so much extra pressure on that forehand wing for Iga Swiatek. To me, I think coming into January, you're supposed to be refreshed, regenerized, and you're already mentally frazzled. You know, I hope nothing terrible is going on off the scenes that we don't know about. But I think for anyone looking from the outside in, this is worrisome, because this is where you're supposed to. This is a happy slam we're going into, everybody. Like we gotta enjoy
it's the
ourselves.
happy slam, and there's certainly trouble in paradise for Iga right now with losing 2 back-to-back matches, which is a little bit uncharacteristic for the former world number 1, right? I mean, we don't see her lose back-to-back quite often. Bencic played incredibly well. I mean, that match was, like you said, just blueprint tennis of how anyone would want to try to play against Iga. The match against Coco, I mean, Coco's playing really well. It's good news for Coco fans because she's ripping that forehand. There's been visible improvement off that side, but still not the type of tennis I think Iga is capable of playing in that matchup. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see going into AO how she's going to recover mentally from this. When she's focused and feeling good, she's a number 1 player in the world. What can you say, right? But
we can say a lot of things. That's for sure. We can drop knowledge anywhere, and we can talk some smack. We can do all sorts of things. But the great thing about a start of a new year is you can see what people have put on in the offseason. And I think we got to give a nod to Medvedev. I think he had a terrible middle to end last year. I think we can openly
Switched his
say
coaching team,
blew up his world, and basically decided, we're going to start anew and figure this out and rejuvenate myself at, what is he, 32, 33? Or maybe he's a little...
I
Come
think
on,
he's going to be
give it to me.
30 in February.
That's it? Oh, my gosh. I dogged him so hard.
Well, the hairline, you know, you think he's a little older.
Brad, you're just brutal.
Wait,
oh, my gosh. Thank God we're talking about the men and not the women. Can you imagine? Jeez.
Well, he's got the swirl do going there. He's like, time to go tight, buddy.
He's made enough
You're
money
petty. You can be one of the girlies. You can hang out
he's
with
made
us.
enough money to head to Turkey to get that fixed when he's done.
He's had 22 titles now, winning in Adelaide, which is weird. It's on the half hour. It's kind of a civilized place that's on the half hour. He's Marco Solo. He's never won a tournament twice. All 22 of his titles are a different place.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He wants the ATP to add more cities to the complicated life of the tour, right? I don't know.
I would highly disagree that I would ever want to be in multiple cities or play more tournaments. I think that's something that we do not need.
I think we've
in the
seen
tennis
enough
world.
of the world at this point.
We've seen enough of the world. I like going to cool cities and experiencing it, but
Like away from the tennis.
We'll let Danielle go wherever the heck he
Coco
wants
and
to
I
go.
are at the point in the stage in our lives where we've done so much traveling with the tennis. Now we want to do some traveling where we don't have to play tennis.
Oh.
We can just focus on the margaritas.
Oh, there you go. Well, you missed our Bahamas trip, DC. So what can we do?
Well,
I can
Mother
partake in
Nature,
the margies for
the
sure.
eggs had to come out.
I'm good at margies. I'm good at beer. And you know one of my special talents? I mean, I don't have a lot,
All right.
but bartending.
Okay.
It's, you know,
I think
Party at Brad's house in
you know what?
Malibu.
I bet
We're
Christy
going.
would love Brad. I bet you could be part of our girl gang.
okay.
Okay.
But bartending, like, that's kind of
Well,
been
how's your golf game?
non-existent.
Well, you've got the pro here,
Yeah,
right next to me.
Non-existent, no golf.
All right, you guys. We got to cut off the bartending because I'm just gonna get thirsty on a Monday, and that's not where we need to be. It's Thirsty Thursday, and that's the only time that we need it. But when we come back, we're gonna talk more and get more insight into the coaching knowledge, some more of the tea, some more of the drama. Because what a day wouldn't be with the girlies, Brad, if we didn't get the drama and the tea going.
Get your popcorn ready, guys.
Now I want a margarita that Brad can make. That's what I want.
Does
Okay.
anybody have any snacks I
Yeah.
can have while we're doing this?
Tell me when you have enough of your snack, and then we're gonna go, DC.
Okay. You don't want to hear me chew on the podcast?
It's not an ASMR podcast. It's just. This is going to be one of my favorite times because it's game time. It's game time, and I plan to win game time, even though there's only losers in this because we're going to get absolutely roasted online for any of our answers, even if we're 100% correct and right. But the game is called high percentage tennis, and that's because
Did you play high percentage tennis?
absolutely not. That's why
Me
I
neither.
teach, I don't do, and that's what we're about to accomplish out here. So everyone, we're going to go from 0 to 100 in a percentage, and based on these questions, 100 obviously being like absolutely.
Did you write these questions?
I cheated because I never graduated anything in my life, so I cheated my way through everything. No, I'm kidding. But I did cheat in my geometry test to be able to pass that, and it was only because it was a multiple choice answer. But you can't get me on that now. So the first question I got for everybody is, will there be an ATP player not named Carlos Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner to win a major this year? DC, kick us off.
25%.
No.
Wow, you're going high. You know what?
I don't think that's high.
I will give it a 5.117% shot of somebody winning.
5.117?
So 5.117.
Does percentages go? Can we get a official ruling? Does a percentage go that far in this game?
Of course it does, because
Okay,
I always
yes.
throw decimals in there. And what's your answer?
So for this statement, I got to say that it's going to be a 3% chance.
3%.
I think so. I think 3% is. I find it to be 0 to little
How much
probability.
money are we putting on it, you guys?
Listen, I'll put dinner on it right here that there is no other player that wins it. But you never
I'm-
know. People could like throw up on themselves through a draw. It's possible, but I'm giving it such a low probability that it's 3. I mean, you're not even going to sniff at that. But I mean, Vegas isn't even taking any bets any other way.
Okay, this is a good one here. Question number 2, ladies. Coco Gauff will be ranked number 1 in the world at some point in her career. Coco, namesake.
I think it's going to be a 70% chance. mainly because at some point Sabalenka's going to retire, Rybakina's going to retire, and Iga Swiatek's going to retire. And those three are going to constantly be Coco's nemesis throughout her whole career. And Coco's got age on her side. She's the youngest of that group, so she's going to last the longest and be able to get it.
I'm going to go 95%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much higher percentage.
Much higher. I think it's just a matter of time before she becomes the world
at
number
21
one.
years old, 3 consecutive years at 3 in the world. I think there's a chance it's going to happen this year.
Really?
I will put it at 97.91% chance
This
of
year?
happen.
This year.
Over her career, but
Okay.
I think there's a good chance it will happen in 26.
Okay, what's your percentage on 26 then?
Ooh, what's my percentage? I'm going to say 51.39.
When does it happen to follow up the follow-up? I'm really putting pressure on you here, Brad.
I don't.
I'm in studio. You can't run from me, and the plane can't call me to get me out of here. We're in. We're locked in.
That I don't know. But she's going to need, potentially to make a little bit of hay because she played really poorly last year in Doha, Dubai, Indian Wells, Miami. So I think if she can have a good run there, maybe it happens in the clay court season.
All right.
Okay.
Clay court season. That's a jump because a lot of the 3 names that I mentioned, Swiatek and Sabalenka, have a lot to defend in that time. So that's interesting. But I'm gonna let you sit on that. I'm gonna let the world sit on that and let them decide how wrong we actually are. But I think the next statement should be Juan Carlos Ferrero. Will he be coaching a top 100 player during this season?
C.
The percentage, DC. Percentage.
I would say 95% chance.
Back again with the same percentage. See, the Spanish, when they say yes or sí, it's no. It's no. That means that. I think there's a very high percentage chance that if he coaches somebody in 26, it's a top 100 player. I think that he could make more hay potentially coaching a top woman player. So I will put that at 79.39% chance he will be coaching a top 100 player, which I think will be a female in 26. And
I could see him working on the women's side.
You guys are-
and I
you
think
guys-
he might have
no,
a better
no
opportunity
chance.
too after having coached, and then moving over to the women's side. I think a better opportunity for him financially.
Listen, this is not to be an antagonist here, but I think you guys are so far off on not only Juan Carlos coach a woman, no chance. There's 0 chance in that. I'm giving a 0 or
I'm
a
going to call him right now.
-%.
Let's see if he wants to work with Danielle Collins.
Listen, it's going to be a negative
You think he can
100 at
handle
that
me?
point, DC. Negative 100%. But for me, I'm
it
going to say...
makes you a better coach being a guy.
I'm not
if
saying-
you work with a woman and a man.
Listen, I'm not saying that that's the reason
Which
behind
gender
it.
do
I'm
you
just
prefer
saying...
to work with?
Good question. You know who I
There's
prefer.
only a right answer here with the two of
Well,
us
no.
sitting
First,
here.
you got to
We
give
wanna hear what it's
give
like.
your percentage,
Okay.
and then I'll answer this question.
I'm going to give this a 23% chance. I'm going to go Jordan year, mainly because I think there's a bit of a open wound there. I don't think he's quite ready to see Carlos. I mean, it's like a bad breakup.
It's a coaching relationship.
No, they were like father,
but it's
son.
Okay,
Come
but
on.
he's got life goes on, right?
I don't want to
The
see
show
my
has to go on.
ex-coach anywhere. I'd kick him to the curb. I'd call their hotel room and make sure the alarm is going off every time.
See, I like coaching anybody that makes you look like a genius. But I also feel like whether or not it's a man or a woman, that you have a chance to really help them in their game. You have a chance to really, make a difference. Not coaching an older player. I like coaching and starting with a player when they're younger and you have a chance to really do something. So, I worked with Hingis when she was 16. So I've definitely, and I worked with Mary Pierce. So I've worked with a few different women, but to me, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, some player that has a lot of upside and you have a chance to grow together.
Okay, so fun fact, I just have to interrupt on this. Brad is not just an accomplished tennis player and coach. Brad actually is a Hollywood star here in LA. Can you talk a little bit on your acting career and fill us in on some of the movies that you've been a part of? Because I don't think so many of the tennis fans and people watching realize your talent away from the tennis courts.
Are you checking on my acting chops? A show called Red Oaks I was on about 10 years ago. I was
you were
on
the doctor on that show.
Dr. Feinberg.
What type of doctor were you on
I was a
that
plastic
show?
surgeon.
Okay.
It's set in the Jersey Shores in the 70s.
Oh, Jesus.
Unfortunately, it was set at a tennis club. I didn't make season 3. I lost for the club presidency.
Oh, my
And
God.
then I've been the technical advisor on Challengers. So I spent all of 22 on that. A movie I worked on at the end of 24 for 3 months. It's coming out on Apple in April of 26 called The Dink. Andy Roddick has a big, spot in that movie.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun. And one, I have a confidentiality clause that I cannot say.
Look
that
at this
the
man
movie-
does Brad have?
Just
That
a
we
man
just-
of integrity right here.
Well, then I, maybe would get in some trouble. But I worked on right after the U.S. Open in 25.
Okay, Dr. Feinberg.
Yes,
here's
Dr.
my
Feinberg.
Here's my final statement, so we can get back to the game.
Yes.
What percentage do we think that Serena Williams will play a tour level match this year?
50%.
Just an even,
I mean,
Steven.
you didn't even jump one way or the other. DC, you're better than that.
I really think that she's going to be coming back to the tour at some point. The fact that she entered the drug testing pool, that makes for her to say that she's not going to be playing when she's in the drug testing
then
pool.
why
That
a
just doesn't make
50?
sense.
That sounds pretty definite.
I'm just trying to switch up my numbers a little bit, okay? I'm just trying to switch
what were
up
you
the
sitting
numbers.
on? The 97?
You know what? It's an interesting thing why you would come back at the drug testing, because that's not exactly a fun thing that anyone would do.
No.
I have this feeling that if we see Serena back, it's going to be at the 26 U.S. Open playing doubles with her sister, and it'll be Venus's last match and last tournament as well. So I think if it's going to happen, it's Venus that tries to get her, okay, I want you to be with me in my last match, last tournament. So I'll give it a 39.57% chance of happening.
39.57.
Wow.
What is this?
Wow,
Jesus
these
Christ.
numbers. We got to switch up the game. This has been fun, but
Okay,
Listen,
I will.
I 100% agree with you. There's my percentage on that it will be with Venus in doubles at the U.S. Open. That's the only reason why she would enter the drug testing pool. I think it's going to be a lower percentage than that 39 bajillion whatever percentage that you just said. Point bajillion. I think it's going to be 13%. Lucky number 13.
Lucky 13.
that's my lucky number too. That's
why I said it, because I know you're a T Swift fan, and I knew that.
We're
But
Sagittarius girls.
come on, Saggy girls got to stick
Okay,
together.
last quick statement. It's been 23 years, unfortunately, since an American man won a major. How long before American man wins a major?
Another 23 years.
Ooh, doing our American men dirty with a statement like that. But she's keeping
that
it
way.
real.
Jesus,
That
I
wasn't
would
the
be-
game, though, Brad. It was percentages.
Percentage. Does it happen within the next 5 years?
No. 0%. 0%. I don't think that our American men have shown consistently enough that they can battle a multitude of men for 3 out of 5. 2 out of 3, we've seen them win and dominate. But it's that 3 out of 5 that is such a big difference maker. So I'm going the 0%. But I'll be nice. I'll give it a 1%.
I'm going to be nice. I'm going to go with 15%. I do agree with Coco. I think our American men, if they're going to want to do better in these Grand Slams, they're going to have to be able to battle through those 3 out of 5 matches. And the physical stamina is going to have to improve from all of them.
All right, BG, on your
Have a
own
good
statement,
chance.
what do you got?
I think Ben Shelton's got a good shot in the next 5 years. Maybe JCF. Maybe that's the person who should be thinking about bringing on JCF to the team. I will give it a 61.91% chance that American man is going to win one in the next 5
how you back
years.
the American men. I
Yes.
love it.
I mean, yes, it's
Got to happen.
delusion from Dr. Feinberg, but I loved this game, the high percentage tennis. It was fun playing with
That's
you
all my game was. I had no game other than a high percentage.
I read your book, Brad. I remember. Red light, green light. I got it. I got it. It wouldn't be any fun if we didn't have some predictions come the Australian Open. We're only just days away from the AO, the Happy Slam, one of my favorite Grand Slams to play, and I'll be heading there shortly. But I want to hear some of your guys' predictions. And I mean, did we like how everyone was playing the week before? Do you think things ran smoothly?
Well, first of all, as a player, I never really learned about playing a slam opposed to when I became a coach. And then I totally understood once I started coaching Andre about how important it was to be in that city the week before to really get organized. Danielle, you played your best tennis in your career at this major. What was it about Australia that you got mentally and physically ready for Melbourne more so than the other 3 majors?
I don't know. I think it might be my friends down under.
Oh, it's the Aussie firefighters. Have you guys seen that calendar?
Oh my gosh, Coco and I all the time go back and forth on Instagram, sending each other
We'll send you
memes
some,
from
Brad.
this account. We'll pull up some images for you ladies, and our male friends that are like the hot Australian firefighters.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about playing down under and the fans getting me fired up. The court conditions suit me well. The weather, it's hot as hell there. Yeah, I like playing in the hot weather because I'm from Florida. So
I don't see how anyone dislikes that slam as a player, as a coach, because
If you're not fit,
listen,
then you can have problems with that.
That's your own fault if you weren't able to get fit enough. But I think a lot of players, for me especially, I hated playing the week before any slam. So I usually never played. It used to be only Sydney that was available. I never played Sydney before a slam. If I got 3 matches, 3 wins, quarterfinals, semis, I was happy. I was out on the courts at the Australian Open, just because even though you do well at a tournament, you're mentally fatigued, even if it wasn't a hard run to get there, for me personally. But I think it's so nice for a lot of these players to leave frozen areas. I think we saw Bublik was talking about it was like negative 10 degrees Celsius or whatever the heck number he was throwing out. It was like your percentages in our high percentage game that were coming out of. But that was one of my favorite things to see as an American player training in San Diego, was seeing how ghostly white some of these Eastern Europeans were, or Europeans in general, that just stayed in the indoor bubble, and see them start getting redder and redder as the day went on, because you knew they weren't physically ready, like you said, Brad, and they also were going to melt under these conditions, because
it melts under pressure.
It literally can be that hot where your shoes melt to the court, and it also can flip on a dime in Melbourne, that it can rain. It will be freezing cold there. But I think the way that Melbourne works so well at AO is because, as much as it is a grand slam, it feels like the most intimate slam to me. The courts, how close people are, the Australian fans love the sport. They're not so one-sided or the other, whether it's, oh, I have my favorite player and they're the top seed. No, if it's a good tennis match, we're rooting for everybody to play. And then the beers get going, and it gets a lot of fun. I mean, DC and I had some fun out there.
We had some fun out there last year. We gave the Australian fans, I think we shook the nation to its core, honestly.
To their core.
I think the coolest thing about the Aussie Open is, let's say it's a Dutch player playing on one of the outside courts. You have the Dutch rooters, the Italian rooters. Novak has his biggest fan base at Melbourne at any other tournament. It's probably like 6,000 or 7,000 Serbians there. But I do think that on the women's side, Zabalenka is a huge favorite. She's played very well in Australia the last 3 years, and been the most consistent woman in the last 12 majors. She's been in the semis or better, quietly 11. And I do think that Coco played a little bit better in her last match. I would like to see her make a deep run, but I still think, unlike the men's, the women's, you could have a surprise semifinals. Surprise finals. Wouldn't even be shocked if we had somebody like out of nowhere win the tournament. I'm still sticking to, in 26, 4 slams for the women, 4 different winners.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I got some follow-up questions here, and for me, the first one would be, which top 5 player has the biggest question mark leading into the Australian Open? Because we were talking a lot about the lead-ups into AO,
I think Iga,
men and women. No, don't just cop out
I think
here.
for a lot of people watching Iga at United Cup, there's a big question mark next to that name with the 2 back-to-back losses. That's the one that stands out to me the most.
I'll go on the men's side. A little unusual because he's been so consistent the last 24 months. Taylor Fritz 1-3 in the team competition, and nursing a bit of a knee issue. He said that he wasn't able to play any practice sets. So when you're struggling a little bit, I feel like a slam, especially on the men's side, it's 2 tournaments. Get through that first week, especially if you haven't played. Like, Djokovic,
And also, Mike Russell. We need Mike Russell to go out there with Taylor. We need him to stand inside the service box and nail some returns. Get Taylor working on that return because he was really struggling with his returns in a couple of those matches there.
What about the short shorts for the coach? Does he want to show off the arms a little more?
If you're Mike Russell, you can. There's plenty of coaches.
He doesn't miss arm day. He's got. If you got it, flaunt it.
Curls for the girls, and his wife better be very happy about that, Mike Russell. And DC, do you have a guy that you're a male player that you're?
I'm a little bit worried about Taylor right now with the performance at United Cup. I thought
2 for 2 for Taylor.
He had played some solid tennis at times, but ultimately just wasn't competing the way that we normally see him in those big moments. And I do think he was struggling a lot on the returns in a couple of those matches.
He could borrow your Bacon return.
I'll try to, if I could lend it to him, I would. But I know Mike Russell's going to be out there in that service box after he hears this podcast, and they're going to get that return dialed in. They're doing some fine tuning this week. So it's a question mark now, but I'm hoping that once Australian Open starts, Taylor's going to be a contender for a Grand Slam.
It would have been an interesting dynamic if I tried to coach you.
That would be hell on wheels. Are you kidding?
I would give you a run for your money. Let me tell you.
Oh my God. Flames, lightning, all the earthquakes, all the natural disasters. That would be the. Okay. All right. Well, that's a different topic for a different day. But let's go to the next question I have for you guys. Name an unseeded player that can make a deep run, ATP or WTA.
Well, on the women's side, over about the last 15 slams, almost every slam, we have an unseeded woman that makes the semis. So it's almost a guarantee that you're going to get like a couple that get to the quarters.
Wasson is out. She's injured. Wasson is out.
We're not doing the rankings real quick and just brush up on
So
this.
I feel like there's a really good chance we're going to get 2 unseeded players in the quarters, 1 in the semis. And obviously, I'm a stickler about seeing the draw. Once you see the draw, you can kind of see a section that, because we seem to get in the women's one section that will blow up. And all of a sudden, like by the time you're in the 3rd round, there's no seeds left.
Right.
So I do feel like, I don't have a name for you, but I feel like there is for sure going to at least be 2 unseeded in the quarters. Probably a qualifier in a round of 16, and I'm going to say one.
We're going to have another Louise
semi.
Busson French Open situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I've got a good one.
Okay, give it to me, DC.
I'm going to go with Olga Danilovic.
Oh yeah, the lefty.
Lefty, Serbian.
Yeah, Danilovic. Serbian superstar. I just think the way that she strikes the ball, how well she can play under pressure. I've beaten her before. I've lost to her before.
You had a battle with her at the French.
Yes, I did. And I am also going to say one other player. I think when Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova.
Scrabble?
Yeah, Pavs, when she's playing. When she's
I'm nobody
playing,
to correct anyone on names. I'm so bad.
When she's playing her best tennis, she is dangerous. And I think if she's healthy, I haven't seen what she's been doing. I don't know if she even played a tournament before
I'm going to agree with you on Danilovic, but I'm going to disagree with you on Pavs. I think Pavs has had her time. She's got a ring on it. Also, she's got wedding planning to do.
She's lost a little motivation since she got.
Doesn't her husband? He's the one that wears pajamas sometimes.
Yeah, he's
in
a wannabe
the coaching
Hugh
box.
Hefner out there. It's ridiculous.
On the men's. on the men's side, I don't know that we're getting some unseeded in the semis. Maybe we get one in the quarters, because I feel like the men's, we still. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see some unpredictability, but I don't think we'll see an unseeded in the semi.
All right. So that then brings me to my next question. Do you guys think it's Sinner Alcaraz to win this championship, or the field? And also on the women's side, the two top players in the world, Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka, or the field to win a slam? I know the draws are big, I get it, but we got to just throw it out there.
I'll give you this. At the Wimbledon, the championships, if you'd have taken the 126 besides Sinner Alcaraz, which is included of Joker, you had, it was 1-5. So that means you had to bet $100 to win 20 if you were betting on Sinner Alcaraz. And at the U.S. Open, it was like 1-7. So that's how much of a favorite they are. So I'm guessing in Australia how good Sinner's been, but it's actually been Alcaraz's weakest slam. And I actually remember last year, in the round of 16, I was courtside. Sinner was fried egg. He got a lucky reprieve against Rune, and then he got to go in the locker room. And then they checked his
That was a big discussion that he
for
went
20
inside.
minutes.
Yeah.
So I do think there is some heat rule. So if I was a betting man, which I am, if you were going to take a flyer, I would probably do it in this one based upon Alcaraz's history at this tournament. First tournament without the JCF.
We'll get some graphic odds of what we have the line at for the field versus Sinner
I'm guessing
and Alcaraz.
the true odds is probably, if you're betting on Alcaraz, Sinner to win it, and you get it's probably 1-7.
You think it's that? I would take that bet. Do you see? What about the women? What about the WTA? You think it's a field, or it's going to be Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, and I'm going to throw in Coco Gauff as well, because I think
1, 2, and 3.
I think 1, 2, and 3 have a really good chance. That all play really well on hard court, and they all have slam titles on a hard court and 12 majors, so they're the last 3 to win.
I would say Sabalenka and Gauff have the best chance.
Okay.
I'm taking Iga out of that equation right now. I think if she can show up mentally feeling pretty good, that obviously changes things.
And doesn't
but
have
after what we saw,
Ostapenko in her quarter. That also
know,
is
it's pretty amazing.
Exactly.
Coco, about that 3 you just mentioned, they finished top 3 in the world 3 consecutive years. First time since the 80s that happened. Now, if we put up the odds of those 3, and then you took the other 125, I bet that you would be getting at least plus money, because I don't think that those 3 you would be. I'm thinking
I would take that bet. That's crazy. I would take the plus money for sure.
I'm thinking I would probably take the field if I got a good odds on the field. I would take the field on that.
Because the field, you got to think about it, is going to be Rybakina. It's going to also
Osaka's
be Jess
played well.
Pegula, Osaka,
Anisimova.
Keys, Anisimova. I mean, they're women that have contended and made finals. They're not just, I've made quarters.
Pegula also
anything.
has a really good chance of doing well here, and I really like that she pulled out of Adelaide going into this week. I feel like Jess has been a player. She likes to get a lot of matches. She likes to play week after week, but sometimes I feel like when she plays these tournaments the week before a slam, it doesn't always put her in the best position to go on a long stretch during a 2-week tournament like Australian Open. So I think it's actually a good sign she pulled out of Adelaide. I'm not sure what the reason was behind there, but if she's healthy, she also a big contender.
Mainly
to
the
win
reason
this.
is I don't feel like I got enough matches. And that's where the 1-point slam, I think, is going to be the biggest bit of noise for everyone. It's the second year that it's been at the Australian Open. So we get a bunch of Joe Schmoes coming out. Hopefully they got shoes and they're laced up. Sometimes they need to borrow a racket. You don't know. And they have to play 1 point against the pros. There's a lot of big names that have signed up for it, and the pros get 1 serve and the amateurs get 2 serves if they decide to receive. I know you flip a coin and decide, and I know personally I would choose to receive. There's no way.
I would definitely choose to receive.
I don't want.
And you're a big server too, so that says a lot.
I don't want that kind of pressure. I hated the no ad point. Like, I thought it was stupid, and I would take receive.
So if I'm an amateur and have a decent serve, so this is Coach BG right here.
Let's go, Coach.
So let's say the guy's a 4.5 and he has a decent serve.
4.5s have decent serves. I've seen some trash ones.
Yeah, but you can get
the ones we've seen are
but you can get a guy that like has a pretty big serve the rest of his game. You know, like he's a poor man's Isner. He's rough at the club with a big serve. So I think if you have a big serve, strategy definitely go for big serve on first and second. Take 2 risks.
Just go for the double fault if it happens. You're not going to win the rally.
So your best chance maybe is if you have a decent serve to win it off the serve. If you don't have a big serve, I think most importantly, Danielle, you guys maybe like to go big. I say this is where you go percentage tennis. Put the ball in play. See if you can get a freebie. Somebody gets tight and gives you that first ball mistake. So I think it's crucial to make a return or make a first ball.
I can't tell you, all amateurs that are probably listening to this that are going to play in this 1-point slam, there is nothing scarier than taking an L to a darn near nobody that is walking out there.
And could get in a lot of players' heads.
And I would be shaking come standing at that line, more so than if I was serving for a match to make my first final at a slam. That would be a lot more.
Your toss would be going, Aaron.
Okay, I want to know if you had to pick which amateur that you were going to play, and it was either players, coaches, or family members, like an annoying person from the tour.
Oh my gosh,
who would
there's so
you
many.
pick to play against?
Well, name names. We're going to drop names because one coaching box comes to mind for me. And she, I think, is playing qualies now, but she was top 10 in the world. Kiki Medvedev. Her box was very loud, in your face. And I would pick anyone out of that box and say, put a racket in your hand, let's frickin' go.
I'm going with Georgie's dad. Camilla Georgie's dad. I want to play you in the $1 million 1-point slam.
BG?
She said, I'm a little disheveled. I don't have anybody like that. But Georgie's dad was
I kind of wouldn't mind playing against you.
You wouldn't mind?
I wouldn't mind playing against you.
That's our next segment. Was when we get back, we're going to show you the video of these two playing. I'm kidding. That you guys can't afford that, so we'll have to see that on a different day.
Georgie's dad is a nut, right? Georgie's dad is a nut. He's a nut,
he
right?
He always has a cigarette in his mouth.
Well, last week, all the coaching talk was about the Splitsville, the shock Splitsville between the #1 player in the world, Carlos Alcaraz, and the Mosquito, JCF. But we have a new character for the pod, Parsa Nomadi, who I only know him as Parsa Bombs. I can't believe you're wearing a Tennessee Volunteers shirt. Where is your Pepperdine shirt? Welcome in, and you have some breaking news on some new coaching partnerships and split-ups.
Thanks, BG. Pleasure to be here. We're going to kick it off with the top third-ranked Canadian male. Gabriel Diallo just split with his longtime coach, Martin Lorenda, who actually joined Pepperdine just a couple seasons after you. He's now brought on Jonas Bjorkman, who had a little tenure with Andy Murray about a decade ago. Also on the American front, we touched on Medvedev in Brisbane. His old coach, Gil Savar, is now with Nishesh Basavaredi. Also, Brandon Nakashima, nice run to the final in Brisbane. He's brought on Rick Leach, brother-in-law of our own Lindsay Davenport. And then his opponent in the first round last week, Davidovich Fokina, actually now has Nakashima's old coach, Mariano Puerta, 05 Roland Garros finalist.
That
Nakashima
always
beat
happens
Kovacevic.
when you get a new coach to the old coach. You play him the first tournament.
Nakashima's semifinal opponent, Alex Kovacevic, actually has brought on David Witt, who was most recently with Francis Tiafoe, been with Pegula and Venus as well. And then you also got Riley Opelka bringing on Craig Boynton, who's worked with Opelka, Sock, Query, Johnson, Isner, Hurkacz, all the Americans bringing on a nice little Cocos Count. And you got Nishesh Basavaredi bringing on Jill Savara. We'll throw in another American there for you.
Musical
Medvedev's old coach that we touched on.
What about a number 5 player in the world, Musetti, I call him Muserati, brought on the veteran coach, Jose Perlis, a Spanish guy who used to coach Fanini for about 10 years, now is joining the Musetti team.
Wow.
Nothing.
So wait, he worked with Musetti and Fognini?
Yeah.
Like 2 of the hottest guys on tour? All right.
Fognini used to have this hot guy that would travel with him, and I loved it.
What was his role?
Craig Carden, he was actually here today. I haven't seen him yet, but Craig Carden embarrassed the living daylights out of me. Not to segue this from Parsa, I apologize, but this is too good of a terrible story. I was like, getting warmed up, and Craig's like, "Can you just focus?" I was like, "Craig, there's this like really hot guy right there. Like he's like shirtless with Fognini. They're both shirtless, you know, all these things." And I'm like, "I don't know who he is. Do you know who he is?" And he's like, "I'll find out." And so he goes over and he's like, "Yo, Fabio, Coco thinks your friend's hot." And he goes, "That's my brother-in-law. He's married to my sister." I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no."
Just count on Craig to make it a little awkward.
So,
Thanks,
Parsa,
CK.
nothing new on the women's? It's all quiet, just all men's talk.
Jasmine Paolini's brought on Irani officially, although she had been in her box throughout most of last season. They're doubles partners. Marie Buskova actually has added Mark Lopez. They're expected to start the Australian Open, who was recently with Rafa, of course.
And also
And Paolini, who we just touched on, too.
All right,
I'm
Parsa.
looking forward to Parsa bombs all year. Go get them, buddy.
Thank you, Parsa.
Thank you, Parsa.
I mean, if you're a wave,
Thanks,
you got to
guys.
be wearing
Cheers.
the blue. I'm rocking the waves.
Hey, I'll take the orange.
I'm a Tennessee ball, but
Virginia,
BG
blue
wants
and
me to
orange
be a wave,
navy.
but
We'll
I'm
take
a
a little
ball.
orange. Just make sure to mix some navy in there for me.
Go Who's.
DC, I think this is going to be our favorite segment, and BG, I know you're going to love digging into some of these things, but we got our fan mail segment and pet peeving. Those we encourage everyone to send in your questions and let us know about your tennis games, your experiences, and you know, we're going to give you our God honest truths out here. We're not going to hold back. That's one of the things that we get paid for, and that's why we're here. So the first question, I'm gonna throw it at Brad. I'm gonna make sure that he's ready and kicks us off right. From Mark in HR, and it's all here at
HR.
Tennis Channel. So you better mind your P's and Q's. I can hit my first serve hard, but I rarely make it in. My second serve is very weak and more of just a get it in variety. Any tips or thoughts to help my serve as a whole? Since you were just like absolutely hazing my toss, let's go.
Since he's HR. Very good question. The most important word for this type of player is manage. How do you manage the score? If I'm up 40 love, now all of a sudden if you have a big serve, maybe I can take 2
Green
cracks
light.
at it. If all of a sudden it's love 30, instead of hitting that low percentage first serve that you miss a lot and you got a lousy second serve, that's where you go for like a 60% first serve where you just kind of make it so you take your second serve out of the equation. So it's all about managing the score and the situation.
That's written in your book as well, Brad. I'm glad you haven't varied from that. How many years since your book came out?
Half my life ago. I'm 64. I wrote
Okay.
that book. I had the mullet. I was 32.
Jesus Christ. All right, we won't give Mark from HR too much of a hard time, but we got Jennifer from marketing. I'm going to give this to DC since she's our marketing queen over here.
Hey, Jennifer.
Sometimes when I play USTA matches, there isn't an open court to practice on before my match. If I can't get on a court, what's the best thing I can do at the least time to prepare for a warm-up?
I would say go out and try to find a wall to play against.
Oh, the wall's
and just,
a winner, for
Yeah, hit
sure.
a couple balls against the wall. The amount of times that I've actually had to do that, like at the professional level, if I've been like sitting and it's been
The
a couple of
indoor parking
hours
lot,
before,
you can go find the wall right
you just
there?
find a little wall, do a couple volleys, warm up some groundies. The wall's your friend.
Smart. I can't believe we have that in common. I'm 64, and I just posted. I still hit on the wall 3-4 times
I
a
love
week
the
at
wall.
6 a.m.
Wow.
That's how
Yeah.
I learned how to play
Been
Well,
doing
you
it
know
my
what? I've got a wall at my house.
Maybe there is some chemistry with us. Okay. Question number 3. Anonymous from Finance. Why won't you put your name on this one?
Because they're
I
paying
have-
my bills and they don't want me calling them.
I have a friend that I play with fairly often, and they never bring tennis balls. I always got to bring the balls. Is this person cheap? What do you think about this situation, Coco? That you play with somebody all the time, and it's you. What happens if you don't bring balls? There's no game.
So I'm going to just call this person John Smith. So John, I am that person that doesn't bring any tennis balls, so I am guilty as charged. I
She'd
used to
rather put the money on the booze, right? After the match, right?
No, usually you play for that and win it. But I absolutely think that it should be a 50-50 proposition. Otherwise, you got to ante up some way, shape, or form. When I was first starting playing tennis and Guy Fritz was my coach, the amount of times Guy Fritz would absolutely dog me for never bringing a can of balls. And when I did, he would complain that it was the Target version or Walmart version, and I was cheaping out on it, not getting those Wilson, specialty brand thingamajigs. I was going those pro pens, just trying to just whip those. I was
It all
so
makes sense
cheap.
now, Kogo, with our games.
Cheap.
We were.
John Smith from finance. Yes, that is me. And that means I need my day rate up so I can not get a pro pen and I can actually get those Wilson heavy duties. That'd be great.
Pro pen has got to be the worst ball to play with. And the fact that there was actually a pro tournament at one point, we were playing with pro pen balls. Sorry, pen, but you got to up your game. Those are the worst.
Okay, I'll give my last pet peeve. If I'm commissioner of tennis, one rule change. It's the easiest thing. It's ridiculous. It's never happened. Max, you throw up the ball toss and you don't hit it, you get one mulligan in the match. These serial ball toss catchers who catch 25, 30, 40 tosses a match, sometimes 2 in a row, and no shot clock violation, I think it should be throw up the toss, and if you don't hit it, it's a fault.
All right, BG, that's a pretty good pet peeve. DC, what's your pet peeve?
That's a serious pet peeve of mine. That's jail time for me. If you're gonna do multiple times where you have to keep fooling with your toss, you're done.
Are you going
you
the
either
same
have the
pet
toss
peeve?
under control or you don't.
Are you going the same pet peeve?
I'm going with the same pet peeve. But I have another one. I have another one.
Bring it.
Okay, bring it.
Go to you first, and then let me.
Okay,
I have a couple.
My pet peeve
let me think
is
about which one I want to
when-
share.
My pet peeve is when tennis players don't pick up after themselves, when they leave all those water bottles, all that all over the freaking court.
God, that would
I'm
drive
over it.
Andre crazy.
I'm over it. Just pick up after yourselves. You guys are lazy persons. Go ahead.
Okay, my final pet peeve. I would say like coaches that are like really showy. I was working out in the gym one day. It was in Madrid, and there was a player's coach. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but he was like taking pictures in the mirror, and doing his biceps, and he was like having his moment. And then I was like, "Excuse me, I need to get the weight." And he was like, "I was like, I'm sorry to interrupt your influencing." And then he was like, I'm not an influencer, okay? I was actually a professional weightlifter at one point in my life.
Oh
and
my gosh.
starts giving it to me because I kind of poked at him. I feel like there's a lot of coaches on tour that are super showy, and they like to have
DC, no one shows you up, but this was the most fun I've had on this podcast. Sorry, Brad. I know you're here,
Great
but being with Danielle was a great fun.
Big T too.
For Big T to have Danielle Collins as a guest was a lot of fun. Please hit us up on the socials for the fan questions for next week.
I'll take that to Twitter next week.
BG's gonna take it to Twitter. I'll take it to Instagram.
TikTok, you must do TikTok.
We'll throw it on TikTok.
I actually don't have TikTok, but we need to get on TikTok. I feel like the internet might shut down if the three of us get on TikTok.
We'll be down under. Send us your questions. We'll see you guys next time.